Like, no, I want a King Corso. He called it a King Corso. And I was like, what is that? One, I think the biggest thing is the temperament of the dog. Ensuring that your dog has the right temperament and making sure that the home that your dog is going to is going to be a good fit for your dog. Yeah, I've seen his dogs. I've seen how he is with his dogs. I've also seen him at work. I mean, he's probably, in the bully community, he's probably one of the people I look up to.
Welcome to Bully Girl Magazine Podcast, Season 5. Today, we are with a special guest, Quincy Darden from Scholars Kennel. Hello, Quincy.
Hello.
We're good. It's nice to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us for a conversation. And you're holding a beautiful puppy. Does he or she have a name?
She does not right now. We just call her Love because she was born on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So that puppy has to be for a couple that is in love.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about your business. You are raising King Corso dogs. Tell us about them.
So, race kind of Corsos started about 10, 11 years ago. I'm raising Corsos. I just so happened I didn't know much about them prior to about 15 years ago, and I ended up going on a deployment with the Army, and one of my friends, I was breeding pit bulls at the time, and he was like, hey, when I get back, I'm getting a new dog. And I was like, hey, I got some pit bull puppies. And he was like, no, I want a King Corso. He called it a King Corso at the time. And I was like, what is that? So he proceeded to kind of show me what they were, show me what they looked like. We talked about, the temperament, the breed standard and things like that. And I kind of fell in love with the dog, but I didn't tell him that at the time. And I came back home and started looking them up, looking for breeders, looking for somewhere I can get me one. And I found one, and I was like, hey, this is my happy medium. Because I also bred boxers too. And it was just so high strong for me and my kids. So I was like, all right, after we finished with the boxers, we ended up getting a Corso. Our first Corso's name was Django. After my favorite movie, so
best movie ever, by the way.
Yeah, so since then it's been, a love and breed, just kind of talking to people about the breed and how they differ from other dogs and things like that.
I love that. And tell us, what inspired you to get involved with that particular breed? Like, okay, thanks to this friend, you got to meet them, but what made you fall in love?
One, I love the look of the dog. Two, the temperament. So I thought at the time, like I told you, they were a happy medium between the pit bull and the boxer. They were a happy medium for me. So at that point, like the temperament of the dog, I had kids, babies at the time, and my kids just loved the dog, and the dog just loved on the kids. And at the time, I kind of wondered, are all Corsos like this? So we ended up getting a female named Suge Avery, and she was, from a totally different breeder, and that dog was just as lovable and things like that. So I was like, yeah, it's the breed. So
I love that. Tell us, do you test your breeding dogs for genetic health conditions, and what specific tests do you perform?
So at the beginning, we didn't test for genetic conditions because there were some things that were just natural for the breed because it's a larger breed. But we did start getting tests done for hip dysplasia, heart issues, things like that. But other than that, those were the biggest two that we found that we wanted to get tests for.
That's great. And what do you do to socialize your puppies and prepare them for new homes?
So we socialize with other dogs and children, with people. So what we do is, because we have not only kind of Corsos, we also have a Dachshund Terrier mix that was a rescue dog. He's kind of the boss of the house, being the smallest dog in the house. So we bring our puppies up again with him, and we also we have a 1-year-old right now. So I've always brought my dogs up with all of my kids. So 4 kids plus a baby. We do as much as we can as far as letting our kids go, hey, handle the puppies. They feed the puppies. They They clean up after the puppies. They everything that has to do with the puppies, they do. They even do a little bit of the training at the beginning, around 6 weeks. So we have a lot of interaction with people and other dogs. So and sometimes we dog sit. So every now and again we'll have other dogs that will come in as far as from uh, mixed breeds to purebred pit bulls or American bullies, things like that.
That's really interesting. You dog sit, and do you have any rules for dog sitting? Like, can anyone be part of your dog sitting service, or do they need to like take a test? What regarding personality and all that.
So when we dog sit, it's usually on a personal level. We know that person, and we've had some interaction with their dog. We have had, there has been times where we dog sit for somebody that we just met their dog. When we do that, we have their dog meet our dog. We bring our dogs out to meet their dog. We bring the dog in, let them walk around the house. Then because we have 4 Corsos, we let our dogs out one at a time because they can be a handful sometimes. With our 3 females, they can be a handful sometimes. But usually we'll let them out one at a time so they can interact a little bit at a time, and then it's on from there.
That's great. And listen, what's your favorite bloodline?
Oh, my bloodline. So I initially love the Avalanche. Avalanche, they're based out of South Carolina. That was who I got my first dog from, and actually many of my other dogs that we've had. My male is from Avalanche, Connie Corso in South Carolina. So I love Avalanche's breed. There's been a couple other lines that I like. DFW in Virginia. I love his line. I think those were 2 of my favorites right now.
Oh my, I'm listening to you, but I'm looking at the puppy and it's asleep.
Yeah,
oh my god, it looks so cute. Oh my, they are gorgeous. So what are some common misconceptions about the bully breed or the Corso breed, and how do you address them with potential puppy buyers and the public?
Oh wow. So funny story. I had a friend who was definitely afraid of dogs, and having Corsos that are pretty big dogs. Our biggest Corso was 170, 180. So a male who had probably about a 12-inch, about a 12-inch, 12 to 13-inch forehead. So he had a pretty big head, and he was deathly afraid of Corsos. So I introduced him to my showgirl. I have one female. She was for shows. She did shows. She's won 2 shows before we stopped her from going to shows. So I introduced them to her first because she's the most kind of calm, and she's used to people grabbing at her mouth and things like that. So I introduced them to her first. And after her, I introduced him to him because he's real submissive male. So after that, he kind of saw, all right, the dogs aren't, they're big dogs, but they're not all scary and bad, right? After that, the more he came over, the more he came by, he wanted to see the dogs more and more. So I will introduce him to a couple of my other dogs, Nettie and Shuri. And from there, he just kind of, the more you introduce people to the dogs and you show them, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to as a breeder, and you're not out doing the bad things, fighting your dogs and things like that. I think that's what brings the reality of the breed, that they're not an aggressive breed all the time. They're aggressive when they have to be, when it's for protection or something like that. But when it's not, they can be a very regal breed, and loving breed as far as the family. And now he actually owns one of the hard Corsos.
I love that. He overcame his fear of dogs. Yeah. That's a great story. So you told us that you stopped showing. Did you stop going to shows? Why is that?
Oh man. I just kind of lost the love for it. I think it was, as far as the shows, we got a little bit too political. I mean, my girl she did well. She was only a puppy at the time. I believe she was only like 9 months. So I love being at the shows. I love taking photos at the shows and documenting what's going on at the shows. But for my girl, her winning 2 shows, her first 2 shows that she competed in, that was big for us. And that was enough for me just to say, hey, her first 2 shows she won. She just had to wait to put her weight on because she didn't have her adult weight on yet. But now that she's put her adult weight on, I'm pretty sure if we put her in it, she could still go back and win a couple shows. And when it's a female, they have to win two majors, so they have to win against males. So males can be a lot bigger than the females with this breed. So if you don't have a female that's pretty big, it's hard for the females. So, but I love the
I
shows
get
and
it.
love being in them, love watching them. But there was some politics that I just didn't like. That I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, and sometimes you're into something and then it comes
Yeah,
back, and the important is part is like to be enjoying what you're doing,
right,
right?
right.
So yeah, you were telling us a little bit about this, in your opinion, the characteristics of a responsible dog breeder.
So I would think the characteristics of a responsible dog breeder is one, I think the biggest thing is the temperament of the dog. Ensuring that your dog has the right temperament and making sure that um, the home that your dog is going to is going to be a good fit for your dog. Um, we don't we don't sell our dogs or adopt our dogs to anybody. You know, we do a good background check. We do a not only background check, but we talk to those owners. Probably 99.8% of our dogs have gone to families with kids. I can only recall maybe one one of our dogs going to, and it was a soldier. He was a single soldier who wanted a Corso. So if I'm not mistaken, that's the only Corso I've sold to somebody who didn't have a family. So I think socializing your dog and actually making sure your dogs are going to good homes are the characteristics of a responsible breeder.
Yeah, and they sort of become part of your family,
Yeah.
so you really care about what happens to them. So tell us, what type of diet do you keep your dogs on throughout the year?
Now we really like Kirkland. We've used a couple different brands, and there was no brand that was better to us. I guess we loved a Nook Shook. Um, and we probably would have stayed with that brand had my showgirl not developed an allergy. So after 5 or 6 years, she developed an allergy from nowhere from the dog food, which could have happened. So we just changed brands, and we went with Kirkland, which Kirkland is actually made by Diamond. So we love that that dog food has been doing well with our dogs, and we also feed a little bit of raw. When we do raw, we usually chicken, veggies, some fish oil, things like that. We use hip and joint oils to kind of help with the lubrication in their joints.
Right. What's their favorite? Like, what drives them crazy?
Oh man, anything that you're eating, anything that I'm
Whatever
eating.
you're
Yeah,
having.
yeah. Because all of our dogs are house dogs. We don't have any of our dogs outside. So because all our dogs are house dog, my wife treats them like babies. So the more I don't want them to eat table food, the more she'll give them table food. But usually chicken. We usually make sure it's clean. The way we clean it before we eat it is the same way we clean it before our dogs eat it.
That's great. How many times do you feed them? How many times do they eat? I'm guessing a lot if they're inside.
No, actually, that's probably one of the most asked questions that I get when someone's purchasing a puppy from us. How many times do I feed it, and what do you recommend? Well, for us, it's hard because we do a lot of free feeding. Like I said, our dogs are house dogs. They walk around the house. We keep their food out. If they're hungry, they go eat. But I will say, when we do not free feed, our dogs don't eat a lot. They eat maybe twice a day, and they get around 3 cups. Our dogs weigh about, our females weigh, we have 3 females right now. They weigh in a range from 110 to 125. And our male weighs 115. So they eat about 3 cups in the morning and 2.5 cups in the morning, 2.5 cups in the evening.
That's great. Oh, they're a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Um, how do you keep your dogs in shape throughout the year?
Each other.
How do you do that?
Each other. They play with each other. They wrestle with each other. They go outside a lot. And that's really it. We have never had to take our dogs on a lot of walks because they do a lot of playing and running in our backyard with our kids. Throwing a tennis ball, throwing their bite toy, whatever it is. So that's how they get a lot of their energy out, by just going in the backyard and running around and playing with the kids, or me if I'm going out doing some training, things like that.
That's great, and they are great company. So I would love to have one of them join me in my workout. Tell tell us, walk us through the process of purchasing one of your dogs from start to finish.
So before someone purchases one of our puppies, we usually set up a call or we can talk to them. When we're talking to them, after we agree, we'll send them over an application that they can read over. Just kind of explaining to them, hey, no fighting of the dog. If the dog gets sick, you'll let us know. If at any time you can't handle the dog, you'll let us know. That way we can either take the dog back or help you rehome the dog. Because like I said, we do want to make sure all of our dogs are going to responsible homeowners or families. Once they send back the application, they're required to put down a $500 deposit to reserve their puppy. And we have had instances where somebody reserved a puppy and had to back out, and they couldn't keep that puppy from that litter. That just went towards another puppy in a later litter, so they ended up getting a dog 2 litters down. So they still got a puppy, but it wasn't a puppy from the original litter they wanted. So they still can use that deposit for another litter. From there, they finish paying off their fee. Depending on it does depend on the dog, depends on the puppy, the litter. And from there, about the 8-week mark, we usually get their ears cropped at a 6-week mark. We send pictures, we send videos throughout the whole time. Once they reserve the puppy, we send pictures and videos to them, usually once or twice a week, so they can see their puppy growing and feel like they're part of the process. We also try to ask them, do they already know a name? If they already have a name, we try to start calling their puppy by their name, so they can already have some type of recall, or they know their name before they get home. And then by the 8-week mark, the stitches are taken out of the puppy's ears, and they're ready to go to their forever home.
I love that. So listen, do you offer any health guarantees or support for your puppies after they go to their new home?
Yeah, usually the 2 years, we usually do a 2-year health guarantee where if the puppy comes up with anything, if there's anything going on with the puppy, like I said, you let us know. We'll do everything we can to help out. And if there's something that you can't handle, we'll help you rehome it, or we'll take the puppy back.
So how do you handle returns or rehoming of puppies or adult dogs that you may not that may not work out in their new homes?
Well, we have a pretty decent network now. Doing this for the last, as far as with Corsos, working with Corsos for the last 10, 11 years, we have made a pretty good network. So there are different families that will adopt one, or we also have a veteran center down in South Carolina that we can send dogs to, that we donate dogs to help with disabled veterans that may need service dogs or anything like that. So we have developed a pretty good network where we can help rehome a dog or even take back a puppy to help out. So
what's your experience with the veteran center? What has been your experience with them? Feel very rewarding to be able to contribute to that, right?
Yeah, being a vet myself, 25 years in, it's very rewarding because I'm always able to give back. It's like I never stop serving. And you're always able to help what we call a battle buddy, or a soldier that we fought with, or just a soldier that we may not know, and it helps them. It helps them whatever their case may be, whether it's walking, whether it's depression, anything like that. So to know that one of our dogs went to a soldier to help him to be his coping mechanism, it's very rewarding.
I love that. Congratulations on that work. So what advice do you have for any upcoming breeders?
Don't be afraid to hear somebody call you a backyard breeder. I think that was one of my biggest things as a up-and-coming breeder. Although I had 2 mentors that had been in the Corso breeding game for over 20 years. And the Corso has only been in America for since the 80s, the early 80s, somewhere around 80, 81. So they've only been in America for around 40 something years. So for someone to call me a backyard breeder when I'm breeding my dog the same way you're breeding your dog, don't be afraid to don't be discouraged when someone calls you a backyard breeder. Be encouraged because they're worried about, the dogs you're producing. And as long as you know you're producing a good dog and a strong, healthy dog, and you're doing everything right, legally and morally, I just, don't worry about it. Keep going, keep pushing.
Great advice. Great advice. What do you think the bully, or what would you like to see in the bully breed community 10 years from now?
Oh, more
What would you like?
Corsos, more Corsos. I love the bully community. I've done a lot of work with good friends, gone to a lot of shows, seen a lot of Bully Girl magazine there. So being there, seeing them, um, I would definitely like to see a lot more Corsos there. And I have seen them start to bring Corsos there. So I think once the bully community has accepted the Corsos as a bully breed, I think I might be back into shows. Might be back into shows.
I love that. Yeah. So, who do you look up to in the bully breed community?
Oh man. uh, I don't know if I can get as honest as I want to. Probably, believe it or not, LeVar Carter. I saw some of his work with some of his dogs. Yeah, yeah. I don't want to sound off, but yeah, I've seen his dogs. I've seen how he is with his dogs. I've also seen him at work. I mean, he's probably in the bully community. He's probably one of the people I look up to. He probably loves to hear me say
I love
that
that.
too. He probably loves to hear me
I
say
love
it.
that. Go, Lavar. He made you say that.
Yeah, yeah.
No. About one of your main goals for this year.
For this year, um,
Yeah.
so for this year, I think our biggest goal is to just kind of educate a couple, at least 20 people about the breed. We try to go up every year that we breed, and we've been very successful with that. With like I said, with the community and the network that we built to educate more and more people on the not only the bully breed but the Corsos. They're here. They're not going anywhere. They're big and lovable dogs. They're big teddy bears sometimes, but they can also be a handful. So, just educating people on this breed and how good of a temperament that they do have when in the right hands of the right breeder.
I love that. So tell us what separates your kennel from the competition.
Ooh, so we do I might be letting my secrets out now. We do a lot of things I think different from other kennels. I think one of the biggest things that when I first got my first dog that I wanted to see that I saw nobody else did was people are, we pay a lot of money for our dogs because our dogs are like our kids sometimes. In some instances, they are your kid. We give everybody that purchases a dog from us, we give them their first bag of dog food. That's a 20-pound bag of dog food that, you can, that will go a long ways for this breed. So they get their first bag of dog food from us along with the registration, a book of recommended chews and different supplements to go for the breed. So I think that's the number one thing that separates us. I haven't seen anybody else yet do it. I have a good friend who breeds in Long Island, New York, and he hasn't even done it yet. But he's always like, "Man, I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing that because I know you do it." So
they're stealing your ideas.
Yeah. It's okay though. It's a great idea.
It is. So, what other hobbies or interests do you take part in?
So recently, starting cooking, yeah, for myself. Yeah, I'm a avid Texan, so I love the barbecue. And I'm getting ready for retirement from the Army. So after this year will be 26 years. So I have hobbies of barbecuing and cooking and things like that. That's pretty much it. And spending time with my family.
So now you need to invite us for a barbecue. I'm sorry, mister.
All right, all right.
We'll come over.
Right.
Listen, what do you think about Bully Girl magazine?
Oh man, been a big fan of Bully Girl magazine. Huge fan of the work he does. I think he should produce more. There's more work on him, but do more. He's doing a great job. I love Bully Girl magazine. We are avid supporters of Bully Girl Magazine. Me and my whole family, including my kids. So we love them.
I love that. Quincy, how can our audience reach you?
They can reach me by my website or telephone, actually. Our website is scholarsconnecorso.com, or they can also they can Instagram us at Scholars Connie Corso and Facebook at Scholars Connie Corso.
That's great. Please show us a close up of that baby. Oh my.
I think I said
Higher,
this
higher.
with love earlier. This is actually Heartbreak. This is a male.
His name is Heartbreak.
Yeah.
I love that. He's a heartbreaker. Oh my god, such a cutie. Oh no, no. It's like he's as if he knew he's yawning for us. So listen, Quincy, it's been a pleasure
Yes, ma'am.
having you as our guest, and we are very excited to know what any exciting new things will come for you, and we'll keep in touch. And I hope everyone can look at Quincy's website to check him out. And listen, thanks for joining. Don't forget to follow Bully Girl Mag on Instagram. And don't forget to purchase the latest issue of Bully Girl Magazine. So follow, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Quincy.
you.
Thank you, Heartbreaker.